Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, tomorrow's mediation day again. The cruise lines and the CDC get back together, and I've read some interesting articles discussing this, and some people think there's something in the works. So quickly, just before we start, let me invite you to join the channel here, join the community. Let's talk about cruising. Let's talk about having fun again as the cruise ship industry gets ready to start. I'll keep you up to date with all the happenings. Just hit that little subscribe button, maybe the bell for notifications, so you just see all the videos. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you any money to sign up or anything like that. It's just going to tell you there's another video out there. And today's video is all about the mediation talks with the Florida government and the CDC and the federal government, and the cruise lines stuck in the middle. Now, we talked about this the other day, about what's going on and who has authority, and I've been reading a lot of lawyers talking about this now, Cruise Law News and other different people, and they basically say, you know, Governor DeSantis, whenever he comes out and he talks, he says, we're going to win this lawsuit. I have every confidence we're going to win this lawsuit. But all the lawyers out there who are looking this over say, I don't really see how. It's always been federal jurisdiction. Cruise ships always fall under federal jurisdiction, and the CDC has this authority and mandate given to them by the federal government, and that supersedes state law. It overrides state law, so they don't see this going anywhere. That's probably why the judge sent this to mediation, because he doesn't want to come out and try and say one way or the other, but it's really going to be a difficult lawsuit. It really is, because you have to prove that you've lost money and it's irreparable harm, etc., etc. There's a whole bunch of factors into that. But apparently, I've read some articles in Forbes magazine and Royal Caribbean blog mentioned it, that there seems to be some backroom dealings going on, some backroom negotiations that we are unaware of, trying to come up with a solution in the wording of the ban for, can't require proof of vaccine. They're looking at that because, don't forget, cruise ships are owned by international companies. That's one of the reasons the CDC can say you can't sail. So that's one of the problems that was sailing to Alaska, because they are foreign ports, which means they have to go to a foreign country when they leave the United States before coming back. So the federal government has this option, and so they're trying to rework the wording. Is there going to be a wording in there saying that this is only for Florida-owned businesses? Businesses run by the state. Controlled in the state. Are they going to consider cruise terminals international travel like airports? Because right now, if you want to fly to some countries, you have to show proof of vaccine. You have to show that you've been vaccinated to fly to some countries in the world. And so they're asking for vaccines in Florida at airports in a lot of cases. And in fact, the G7 are getting together shortly, and that's one of the big discussions out there, discussing a centralized system for proof of vaccines for international travel amongst all the G7 nations. So you put that on top of that, and then the cruise ships are international cruise lines. Are they going to make cruise terminals like an international area? Are they going to consider, once you go through those gates into the cruise ports, that's international business? It's not Florida business. You can tax them, but you can't control them. It's very tricky to do the wording. It's very tricky situation, because they've kind of both backed each other into the corner. The cruise lines are coming out and saying they want, to do the vaccines because the CDC is making them do it earlier. Plus, they also feel it's the safer way to open with less incidences possible, right? if everyone's, if everyone's been vaccinated, there's a far less chance you're going to have a spread on your cruise ship. It's proven. It's in fact. It's been shown in businesses. There's lots of studies out there that will help that determination. So they're saying that it's the safest way to do business. And then we have Florida saying, but we are protecting people's privacies, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a very tumultuous time. It's a lot of arguments. And a lot of people just say, well, just do the test cruises, damn it. Just do the test cruises. But remember, cruise lines haven't been working in over 14 months. They have made $0 during this time. In the meantime, they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars a month to stay afloat. Hundreds of millions. And every time they're trying to reset up the cruise ship and get crew members hired and all that, it costs more money, more and more money. And now you're telling them to run more fuel and hire more people to do test cruises and spend more time not making money. It's more and more and more cost. So, of course, the cruise lines would much prefer to just be able to skip all that and start sailing earlier and faster, especially for all the ships coming down the road, not just the ones they want to start now. But there's 300 ships in the world. And if you were to require 300 ships to do a test cruise for every single one, you're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And at least until the state of emergency is lifted in the United States. So the negotiations are going on, but those backroom talks. And I'm very curious to see if it's going to come out. And the cruise lines some of them have actually mentioned that you know what? It might be cheaper for us to start sailing and pay the fines. Imagine that. Because each infraction can be up to $5,000. Up to $5,000. But if there's 10,000 infractions in the first 3 days on different cruise ships, I doubt a judge would okay $5,000 fines for that many infractions all at once. And so the cruise lines may find it even cheaper just to pay the fines. People here in Canada, we have a quarantine hotel that's costing some people anywhere between $2,000 to $3,000 for a couple nights stay at a hotel per person. And they're saying, the heck with it, I'll pay the $800 fine and just go home. Because it's cheaper to do the fine. And so you may see cruise lines sailing and saying, yep, fine us, go ahead. And then we'll fight you in court over it. And then you're going to have the cruise lines, one of the premier industries in Florida, the cruise capital of the world, fighting a governor who wants to run for president in 2024. And that will be something that his opponents can pick up on. You know, by saying, you know, he's the governor who's always pro-business, but he's the one that's costing the cruise lines billions of dollars while they have a chance to open now. He's the one keeping you from working. He's the one keeping cruise ports from this. You know, whether it's true or not, that's the spin that will happen. You know how government works. You know how politicians work. They will always spin it to make you look bad. Or if you're the person doing something, you will spin it to make it look good. It's just the way politics works. So we'll see what happens with the mediation, but Celebrity is still sailing. We're cruising on the 26th. 26 more days from today. Less than 4 weeks. And that's when all this has to be decided. Now, the fun thing about that cruise is, though, it's sailing before the law kicks in. The law kicks in on July 1st. So they can sail that first cruising and see what happens. Because there's no law technically in place right now to do that. So it's a lot of... Who thought in the state of Florida, the biggest cruise capital in the world for sailing and cruising and where everyone travels to and hundreds of billions of dollars are spent every year, would be one of the hardest places to restart cruising in the United States? Who'd have thought this would ever come to pass? Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.